hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. We're here, another episode. Unfortunately, this will be a very interesting one. Leon is coming off of two losses. We'll definitely talk about everything in regards to those games and looking ahead of the doble jornada. So, if anybody watching us or listening to us via Periscope on Twitter or YouTube, let us know what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You're more than welcome to spill all your heart out and your anger out and try and help us talk this through. Quickly on the past rundown of the jornada, Querétaro and San Luis draw 1-1. Necaxa ended up losing against Monterrey 2-1. Xolos and Puebla 3-3. We'll definitely start talking about our loss versus Mazatlan, which is not a fun one. America beating Pumas 3-0, which is another team, Pumas, that have been destroyed along with us with the amount of goals, but they're up by one. The Clásico Tapatio ended up 1-1 with both red cards. The Juárez and Pachuca game did get postponed. Toluca beating Cruz Azul 3-2 and Tigres beating Santos 2-0. Guys, welcome to the show. How are we feeling about just a quick little summary? How are we feeling about another loss, but versus Mazatlan at home?
Not good. It's not the same, as we were just saying before jumping on. It's not the same as losing away to a clear title contender like Monterrey, to a team at home like Mazatlan that's not expected to do anything in this tournament. Well, they're not expected to do anything in any tournament, really. But that's leaves a different taste in the mouth. I mean, if the game against Monterrey was a gut punch, this one was, I don't know, this was something worse. This was, I don't know, just sucked completely the life. This is sucking all the life force out of you, kind of thing.
Yeah, man. It's just I don't even know how to feel. There's so many emotions: agitated, angry, furious, worried, because we don't know like what's coming next. We don't know. We really don't know what to expect. Like we've had our highs, like when we played Toluca and America, we played pretty well, but then we've had like these lows which are like unexplainable. We're such a bipolar team. It's just difficult to predict what we expect from them. So mixed emotions and hoping for the best, but it's not looking good right now at all.
Yeah, it's worrisome considering how well they played against Toluca and America. It looked like, well, okay, it took a few jornadas, but this is what the team is now, and this is promising. Like this team, especially not even how they played against America, more against how they played against Toluca, even though they lost that game, on a fluky goal at the end after being down a man. Toluca they are leading the table at the moment, are they not?
Yeah.
I think there are 19 points. Monterrey is 18.
And they have looked amazing. And against us, they looked very ordinary. We had that game controlled. And then they just built on that with America. That one, they ended up getting the result. You'd think, okay, this is what the team is going to be. Jornada 6-7, that's when they're going to find themselves. That's when they found themselves. And then it just goes to show that, these things are fleeting. These things are fragile. I think el funcionamiento de León is very fragile. That's what I get out of these last two games. Like when they're going well, it doesn't take much for them to completely fall apart. Like going down in a game, for example, they're not equipped to bounce back once they go down in a game. If they score the first goal, then they're in business. Even if they end up giving the tying goal, they can go back ahead. But it seems like if they let in an early one, they just completely break down. That's what's happened in these last two games. It's not a unique circumstance for when León teams have been poor in recent seasons. Prior to the Ambriz era, whenever they would give up a goal early on, they would break down. Now they eventually, under Ambriz, they kind of stunk out of that funk. They went down in several games and managed to almost always pull out the result. But this team under Paiva doesn't seem to be built to do that. They go down early, like could be a stupid own goal or just something fluky happens, or just they they lose their way defending on one counter and they go down and they just completely fall apart. And that's the most concerning thing. This game was over in 15 minutes. This game was over in 15 minutes. Like that cannot happen. That is the most disconcerting thing.
Yeah, it's like we lost our dog. We lost whatever we had in us. We lost it because Louis, you said like we don't have the lion in us to come back anymore. But we had it against Pumas. We were down 3-0 and we came back against Pumas. We were down 1-0 against Puebla and we came back against them. We were down against America, we came back against them. And then at some point we just lost it. It's not there anymore. Like the magic is not there anymore. And it's hard to figure out like where it's coming from. Where is the issue coming from?
Yeah.
And I hate to think about it, but I think Renato Paiva's losing the locker room. It might be one of those issues again because no one's trying. There's not. I might Campbell because you see him playing, he's out there hustling. Rodolfo Cota. But other than that, like everyone's just walking around. Nobody's trying. Nobody's trying anything.
I don't know if I'm agreeing 100% on that right now. What I do agree with, which, you pointed it out, how obviously the game versus Monterrey and the game versus Mazatlan were totally different games than the one versus Pumas. Sí tenía la garra, they made a comeback. Versus Monterrey, we clearly saw there was many issues defensively, that it was just the same play over and over again, and it could have been worse, and it was what it was. I mean, to me right now, defensively, we don't know what we're doing. I think, we were talking about during the weekend. I mean, Fidel Ambriz no está fino. I mean, Chapito doesn't really offer you much right now at this point. I feel like he's going more into a decline. And I think we will talk about that later on. I think defensively, I'm really wondering what he's going to do tomorrow. Just because I feel like maybe after the Mazatlan game, he kind of like hit rock bottom, was like, okay, I need to make some changes. And I really hope he makes some changes. I mean, even though we saw, he made some defensive changes, will that work out? Will that stick? I think it's clear, nos urge Tecillo. He was the glue that held the defense together. When is he coming back? Ángel Mena tampoco anda fino, which we were all freaking shocked. I mean, I was shocked. They had ruled him out, saying, oh, no, take care of him. He doesn't need to play right now. And then he starts. I'm like,
that's
but
true.
Why?
I think they really were looking to bounce back from that loss to Monterrey. And I think if the circumstances were a little bit different, if we were a little bit more comfortable standing in the positioning, they might have sat him out. But they're like, no, you need to play. But it's not just that. It's not just that. It's both in his case and in Chapo's case, and not those are not the only two, but they're being asked to do too much. They're being asked to do more than they can give at this point. They're just kind of being thrown out there, and Paiva's just kind of hoping it all works out. And it just hasn't been. I mean, I think on some level you could say the same thing about another player who's been, I think, unfairly, unjustly, but a lot of jabs have been taken at Byron Castillo the last couple games for his defending. I think Byron is an extremely gifted player. I think you're hard pressed to find a more talented, more technical player on the right channel, Liga MX. But in order for him to be effective, he needs support. He needs support from guys like Mena and who are not giving it to him. Yeah, I mean, I think he's being asked too much. Not, that he's a very capable player, but he's being asked to do more than he's capable of for the reason that he just has too much. He's been given too much responsibility in both sides of the ball. In Mena and Montes' case, I just don't think they have the legs anymore. I mean, Mena could still get his back. He's been dealing with nagging injuries, and I don't know if he's not necessarily washed. I don't want to call Montes washed, but man, it's just he can't be the workhorse anymore. He just he needs to be a super sub. That is the role that he has left in Liga MX, and anything more than that is going to be a hindrance to the team. He can't. he just can't be what he used to be. I'm sorry.
I feel like for people that are, criticizing Byron, I don't. I understand. I mean, I see the work he puts in. He's clearly not getting any support. It's his first season, giving the benefit of the doubt, and he's offensively. I think he can do great things. It's just we don't have a very structured defense to do that. Maybe if we start like we started, maybe if we start how we ended with 3 defenders and then leave Byron and Yairo on the wings kind of exposed, maybe. It's just I think that center back and then the contención aspect in the midfield, I think that's where the disconnect is just huge.
The defensive shape, I mean, if we're going to take very minimal positives out of this game, the defensive shape in the second half when Celestine subbed on looked a little bit more solid. It's not as though Mazatlan was looking to attack. Obviously, they had no reason to.
Yeah.
But it did look a little bit more solid in the second half. I wouldn't be surprised that if starting Thursday, between Thursday and Sunday, Doble Jornada, very, very quick turnaround, 2 tough opponents, away matches. If we see some rotation and if we start seeing a lot more of guys like Celestine, Yairo, like the guys who came in the second half and I feel like played a little bit better, maybe. You know? Yeah.
So the thing I think about Byron Castillo is that he's being used as a winger, and he's being used offensively a lot, but he was primarily brought in to be a right back. That's a defender. He plays a defensive position, but he's not playing defense. He's continuously used down that right wing, and I think he's doing a better job than Mena because he's not showing up. He's just not there. He just doesn't have it, and so Byron Castillo, he runs up and down. That's literally the only power play that we have. Give it to Byron. Yeah. Give it to Byron. Give it to Byron. Give it to Byron center. Give it to Byron center. That's the only play we have. We don't have any other play, and teams are picking up on that. And so Byron goes up. And the wing is completely exposed. Like there's no one there, and the responsibility falls on our center backs to cover those positions. And when they can't do that, we're exposed, and that's why you hear so mad at Barreiro because
Barreiro had a terrible game. But he had a terrible game. Him and OSV had a terrible game versus Mazatlan.
Everyone had a terrible game. Name one person that had a good game. Everyone had a terrible game. They were booing Barreiro, but in my opinion, they should boo everyone. I didn't hear any boos for Mena. I didn't hear any boos for Davila. I didn't hear any boos for Osby. I didn't hear any boos for Chapo, especially. Like everyone should be getting booed. Everyone should be getting booed. But Barreiro seems to have the take the burden for some reason because all the goals go through him somehow because he's the last man left.
Yeah, he's not a great choice. He's not a great option to be the last man standing. That is not how he's not built to succeed that way. But yeah, just to wrap up the Byron thing. Yeah, I think I mentioned you guys in the chat. It really reminded me those circa 2016 to 2018 teams, Leon teams that were really, really quite poor. And everything went through Elias Hernandez. Like he was our only offensive lifeline on the right, and everything went through him the same way. Everything was going through Byron against Mazatlan. Absolutely everything. And I just don't think he deserves the hate he's been getting because he's been asked to do way, way, way too much. And he gets no support. He can't be, I mean, any wingback in the modern game is expected to be involved quite heavily in the attack. And in order for that to work, someone behind needs to come back and support, whether that be Mena, Barreiro, Fidel, whoever it might be. He needs more support than he's getting for what he's being asked to do in the attack. I mean, I don't think he's forcing his way into the attack. I'm pretty sure Paiva, an offensive-minded coach, is telling him, look, you need to get into the attack as much as possible. And I don't know, maybe a more defensive-minded auxiliar should be like harping on those guys, the other guys, to get back. If Byron is going to be such a focal point of the offense, which right now it seems like that's what the intention is there, then the other guys around him have to adjust their priorities on the pitch.
Yeah,
that's what I would say about that.
Speaking of Mena, I want you guys to tell me when the last time you saw Mena get back on defense and try to recover a ball. Joe Campbell does it all the
this
time.
season. Certainly
Joe
not this
Campbell
season.
Joe
Campbell does it all the
this
time.
season. Mena
So,
has
like,
not this season.
So for some reason, our wingers are so focused on attacking that we forget to defend.
Yeah.
It's like we're so offensive minded that we don't have any defense. We just say, well, we have Celestin and Barreiro in the back. Just don't worry about it. And next thing you know, we have 4 Mazatlan guys attacking 2 of our guys, and we're down 3-0.
I mean, not even Fidel. Not even Chapo's like just walking around. And I'm just like, you guys are leaving your man to die. And like you said, Mena doesn't do anything. It's just very frustrating. I mean, look, according to SofaScore, I know Louis, you hate it, but Osvi was the worst player according to SofaScore versus Mazatlan.
Oh, I don't hate that. I'll never hate on anything that calls Osvi the worst player.
Next to Barreiro. Those two.
I mean,
I don't. It's not that I hate SofaScore. I just trust the eye test. So going to so many matches, watching so many matches, a lot of times I trust the eye test more than that. But if you want to call Barreiro and Osvi the worst players, I think maybe they got one right finally.
They were the worst players. I know we went off already, but Carlos, do you want to go ahead and share us the pregame? So
let's talk about let's talk about something else because this is getting me mad. Let's go. So as we already mentioned, Angel Mena was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, which kept him out of the MLS All-Star game. Good for us, not good for the team because he was diagnosed with that injury, but he ended up playing, which is kind of weird because that's a very serious injury. And in my opinion, he probably should have been kept out, not just because of the injury, but because he's not there.
Yeah,
that's one of those injuries that can be really serious, or it could just be kind of like dull foot pain. Yeah, it's kind of depends on the case. If it were serious, I don't think
he has been playing with it.
I think that's what he would have been. Yeah,
Sebastian Mas had, and then after he never really overcame that injury. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it can't be very serious, or it can be minor.
Yeah.
I also don't. It's not one of those things that can get worse by playing on it. It's just something that's kind of nagging and painful.
Yeah. Point number 2. It looks like things are not just going bad in the first team, but the third team, Leon's U18 squad was in Hiroshima, if you guys didn't know, playing a youth tournament, and they lost all 3 of their games. All 3 of them. 5-1, 2-0, and 5-1. Now that's bad. It's good international experience, but couldn't even win one game. So it's not a good look. Not a good look for the U18 squad. And then the last point, it was brought up by Edgar Armendariz, who also works very closely with Cheque. Shout out to both of them. The Leon Stadium is going to now be, apparently it's going to be restored and modernized. And instead of building a new one, they're just going to fix the existing one. I don't know how that's going to work.
Are you serious?
I don't know how it's going to work because it's a very small plot of land. So I don't know how it's going to work. But This is the report that was coming out. Shout out to Edgar Armendariz for that. Thoughts?
That's a shame.
As someone who spends an unhealthy amount of time at that place, I don't really know how that's going to work. There's no real way to. Unless they tear down Plaza Stadium and the Domo de la Feria, there's not really any way to expand. And they can't really, and they could maybe expand. Even then, they could only expand east-west. They could not really expand north-south because the stadium is right on a major street. There's no the north end of the stadium. The north end of the stadium is on the main thoroughfare of the city, like right on it. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm curious to see what creative ideas they can come up with. I'm not going to say I'm upset about the idea because the stadium's in a great location, and I have all the parking spots. scoped out for when I go to the free parking, scoped out when I go to the games. And if they did a Santos Laguna type thing, I don't think free parking would even exist. So yeah, I'm not on some levels I'm happy with that decision. I'm just very curious about how they're going to pull it off.
Got it.
Yeah.
That will be interesting. Yeah.
Apparently, it's going to cost less than half of what it would cost to build a new stadium. So that's why they're opting for this one, just to renovate it. I don't know. I guess.
Well, as long as they still use the other half for players that'll help us win titles, fine.
Well, I don't know. You have to talk to
we can't
Jesus
predict
Martinez
that
about one.
far.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the report that came out. Yeah. Back to this Mazatlan fiasco.
I think it's good just in a way to say, like Louis said, the game was over in 15 minutes. I literally did not see any way that we could come back. I said, this is it. Mazatlan is chill. 3 goals. They're good. They don't. I mean, why do they want to double it?
So,
what?
First goal, purely circumstantial. It goes off of Barreiro's head. Cota's just caught out of position, and it goes in the back.
Yeah.
Okay, that was an accident. Second goal, just absolutely horrible defending.
Which one was Bello's? Was that third?
That was a third one.
The one where Osby would just like let him turn and shoot?
Yeah.
Okay, let me be quiet. I'm getting mad.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's not really something to heap that much praise on, but the second half, the defense looked a little bit better, but a lot of that had to do with Mazatlan. Just like a good teams try to park the bus on us when they get a 1-goal lead. So imagine a terrible team with a 3-goal lead. Like, you think they're going to try to keep attacking? No, they're chilling. They're parking the bus, and all they're caring about is not giving Leon any easy opportunities to cut into the lead. That's all they're caring about.
That's all they care about, and it shows in the statistics how they park the bus. 78% possession for Leon, 1 shot on target. So they said, take the ball. And we didn't know what to do with it. We really don't know what to do with the ball. 78% possession, 1 shot on goal, one shot. These guys, how much do these guys get paid? Some of these guys are getting paid really good money.
Yeah.
And they can't get a shot on goal. Like, it's really frustrating, man. Like, I don't know, man. I think we were better under Adiel Holland. We were statistically speaking, we were after eight games, we were better under Adiel Holland.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first to say that Holland, while he was not the long-term solution, obviously, he also was not the entire problem with this organization.
Agreed.
It goes way beyond him.
Yep.
And Paiva, as excited as we were by all of his opening remarks and when he was hired, and all the energy he seems to bring both to the pitch and to the locker room, I don't know if he's the long-term solution either. It's only been 8 jornadas, but I mean, I'm sure there's already people calling for his head.
And there is.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, yes. I mean, we brutally lost against Monterrey. We lost against star team like Mazatlan, which just annoys me. I don't know. I mean, are we overreacting? Is this first season?
No.
Oh, we're not overreacting. I mean, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I think this season could still be rescued. I just, from tomorrow on out, I need to see change. I need to see a difference. I need to see something change. I need to stop seeing Chapito start. I need to stop seeing, if Maynard's not having a good, bench him. What happened to Fede? Why is Fede erased all of a sudden?
Because he talked back to Paiva.
Well, Fede needs to shut up, because if he knows what's good, he needs to help us.
That's why he's benched, because he talked back, and because he didn't want to get back on defense, and he said something to him, and that was it. Lo borró. So
I wonder if that same thing happened with Paiva, and with Holland. I mean, because like seemed like the guy was in the plans of both, and then all of a sudden he just completely wasn't. Maybe he's just a hothead in practices. He can't keep his mouth shut and play. He can't shut up and play. You know, maybe that's just his character. Maybe that's why he's because he's on the fringes of the Uruguay national team, but he's playing for León in Mexico. Like most of the other guys on the Uruguay national team are playing in Europe. Like maybe that's his deal. He just can't. Maybe just he has an attitude problem or something. I don't know. That would make sense.
Yeah,
I think he's only hurting his case at this point, because if Fede is having an attitude problem and then Mena starts and doesn't really help us, doesn't really go 100%, then what option do we have? We just found out that Avion has this like long-term injury. He's probably not. We can't even count on him. So
that's true. We haven't even talked about
the solution on that side? Yes, with Mena and Joel Campbell, yes, they intertwine in las bandas and all that stuff. Okay, but if we move Campbell, then who's going to be on this side? Because we saw that Elias subbed in. As much as I love Elias, and you guys know I love Elias, no hizo nada this past game versus Mazatlán. It's like there was no change.
Well, the thing about Elias, and the reason that I don't measure his performance with the same stick as I do the rest, is because he's coming off of a fracture. He came off of a fractured foot, and he's not in shape. So I'd give him some time. But he is getting paid a lot of money to not be able to put a decent cross in. So, there is some criticism there, but I kind of back off a little bit because he did fracture his foot. ¿Qué te iba a decir?
I think we hugely miss Meneses.
Yeah, you see him play against Monterrey today. He's like killing it out there.
He's the one that got away. I'm just kidding. We had him, but
he's the one we definitely missed the most out of those that left. Although Mosquera, to his credit, did make the team of the week in the Yankees last week. Yeah,
I'm mad at him.
Yeah, we let these players go, but like we made good money off of them. You made $6 million out of Meneses. You bought him for what, $2 million? That's a $4 million profit. You sold Mosquera when he's like way past his prime. He's way past his prime, in my opinion. And you get a good bag out of him too. And you sell Fernando Navarro's card. That's a good bag too. So you sold a lot of good players, but you made a lot of good money too.
Yeah.
So it's not all. Well, we missed them. It's like, well, do we? This is a lot of money.
But Carlos, that money is of no use to you and me unless it is spent on players that make the team even better than it was with those guys. I'm sorry. Like true. It doesn't. I don't care about millionaires getting more millions of dollars, like unless they invested in something that applies to us.
That's true, and I agree with that. But wouldn't you say that it's fair to say that the team se reforzó bien this offseason, even though some players were returning, se reforzó bien. Like if you say, okay, take out Meneses, put in Campbell, that's a pretty decent refuerzo there.
Yes.
Yeah. Take out
the
Mosquera.
only thing that we didn't count on was Colón Baby leaving, honestly, because at this point he is greatly missed. I mean, ahorita, like we said, Montes is not to start. He's a super sub. Fidel Ambriz, he needs to own up to why he needs to start, because right now I'm not seeing it at all, and I'm very disappointed.
Jefecito's not there either. He's just not doing it for me.
I mean, I'd prefer Jefecito over Fidel right now, to be honest.
Same.
Maybe I would too, but that doesn't mean. I mean, that just means he's the better of two poor options.
And
the only thing is this: lo que tenemos ahorita.
Yeah, and honestly, we have this new kid Ibarra on the bench, just sitting there. Pero for some reason, again, Paivas, he's respecting hierarchies a little too much. He refuses to bench. He refuses to bench number 10 and give this new kid, this new blood, who's probably faster and more athletic than Montes right now. He refuses to give him a chance. And I think that's maybe one of those changes we'll see tomorrow.
Not just there. I wouldn't mind seeing Plátano Alvarado take some more of Davila's minutes.
Because Davila is lost.
I wouldn't mind that.
And his mustache is getting on my nerves too. He needs to shave it off.
Yeah. And who else? Yeah, Ibarra. Also,
I
like
forgot
we
about
look
Ibarra.
we look better reforzado when Diorio was on form. He's just just not finding it these last few games.
Were you talking about Yairo?
Diorio.
Diorio. Well, se está
Yeah.
desesperando, and it's, I've seen a couple comments of like Diorio just wants it at his feet. Like he won't do much if it's not at his feet. And I'm like, well, nothing really is coming forward. They're not really connecting so much these past two games up top. So
Yeah, every cross that's crossed is like way off target.
Yeah.
Everything. I haven't seen one decent cross.
yeah,
Yeah, but you look at some of those first goals he scored, and he was making more things out of nothing on his own than he has at all in the last few matches.
that's true too.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking ahead, Doble Jornada did start yesterday. Mazatlán and Querétaro drawing 1-1. Atlas losing to Juárez 1-0. And Puebla rescuing so many draws. They've only lost one game, and the rest they've like drawn, and they haven't won since Jornada 2. I don't know what the hell. Sorry, I don't know what Puebla's doing, but it's just weird. And they look better than us in a way. It's just weird on the table.
Well, they have joven promesa of the United States men's national team, Josie Altidore, within their ranks now. That's why they're looking better.
I mean, they've turned the games around when he gets subbed in, to be honest. So there you go.
Yeah. It's weird seeing him in that uniform, but
it is
yeah.
weird. Currently, Toluca and Monterrey are drawing 1-1. Later tonight, Cruz Azul versus Xolos, as well as Pachuca versus America, which I will watch that game. I need America to lose. Even though we're facing Pachuca, but that's beyond the case. Our game tomorrow, 7 o'clock Central, and also tomorrow, San Luis versus Pumas. Apart from the Santos game, we also play Pachuca on Sunday. So these two games are coming up. Okay, so I guess let's go ahead and talk about tomorrow's game versus Santos. El Presi did make the trip out here. I saw a clip. I think after the game versus Mazatlan, he had tweeted about kind of like, I take full responsibility and, my obligations are with the team, but I kind of like back up Baiba and this project and et cetera, et cetera. He did make the trip out here. I saw on a clip the team arrived today around 3 o'clock. So, and we already talked about possible, people that we want to bench. So we want to bench Mena.
Yes. Mena goes to the bench for Plátano.
Okay.
No, not Plátano. Fede. Campbell for Jairo. Plátano for Davila. Ibarra for Montes. And Jefecito for Fidel. Let's give these guys a chance. We've got nothing to lose
at this point. So what are we thinking defensively? Are we going back to our regular, or are we playing with the back of three?
Well, he said there's going to be changes. I don't know if he meant Paiva, that is. I don't know if he meant for Thursday or for Sunday, or maybe combination of the two. We might see some switching out, but apparently they're going to be changes. So we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't mind. I would love to see Barreiro benched, but somehow I think whatever changes he's got cooked up, that's not one of them.
Barreiro's not included in that.
Yeah, because we're so short-staffed on defense. Like, ¿a quién metes? Like there's nobody else.
And it's frustrating because during that Pumas game, I was telling Louis, during that Pumas game, Barreiro, I was like, Barreiro had a good game, and all of a sudden, it's like, like you said, Carlos. Obviously, it's not all his fault, and then I don't know why he's the only one that got booed. Because honestly, like you said, these past two games, everybody should be booed porque no hay esfuerzo, no hay ganas. But I think what Louis said, I don't think Barreiro's going to get benched. Would we like to see Celestine start?
I would love to see Celestine instead of Barreiro, but if we do see Celestine, I don't think that's going to happen. Or maybe they'll put him in for Osfi. I'd be okay with that too, but we'll have to see.
So I think So I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Paiva might use one of our center backs as a left back. He might use Belon out there as a left back, and then have Celestine and Barreiro as center backs, just to try something different. Because I don't think he's gonna play Línea de Tres. I really don't think he's gonna play Línea de Tres. It's too much work. It's too much work because they haven't been practicing Línea de Tres all season, and suddenly
Yeah.
you just wanna make them play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did
don't
see
know.
this past
Doesn't make sense.
game, Belon give a lot of direction to Celestine when he subbed in, like, where to be and all this stuff. So I don't know if I'm feeling 100% leaving Celestine with Barreiro versus I feel more with Belon and Barreiro. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's, obviously Belon got thrown in, but, I'm not being too harsh on him because some things, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Some things have not been his fault. I'm still putting him up there that he will end the season like on good terms, and obviously we need a Mexican defender. I would like to see Celestine start. I don't know, Carlos. I mean, I think right now everything's up in the air. We really don't know what changes he's going to do, and if it's defensively, if it's offensively, like Louis said, is it a combination of this game and next game? Mena to me needs to be benched, and also Montes needs to be benched. Period.
Yeah.
I mean,
Davila.
Oh, Davila también. I keep
Davila.
forgetting about him because he hasn't done much, and I should remember that. But it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Davila.
get tired.
Campbell, like I'll still let him start.
Campbell le ha estado echando más ganas than Davila, than Mena.
Yeah.
Very, very evident.
He's different. He's the different one. He's the one that stands out a little more.
And I'm glad, because honestly,
even-
we wanted his return, but from his departure, cuando he was kind of like being lazy and kind of like, not really putting much
Not
effort.
playing
Now
to
he's
his
the
full
one.
potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's playing. It looks like he's playing more to his full potential.
Yeah. ¿Qué más? Anything else that you guys want to talk about in regards to tomorrow's game? Are we nervous? Are we anxious?
I mean, what do we expect? Do we expect a draw? Like, what's a good outcome for you guys? A win, a draw? Well, not, even if we lose, but we play well. Like, what's a good outcome?
No, I think we need one win out of these two. The other can be a loss. We need 3 points out of these 6. I would call that a successful doble jornada. It's going to be a surprise win in either case. Obviously, theoretically, the easier game is tomorrow, but I don't know. Pachuca's had some, as good as they are, they've had some duds this season. So, and also I'm never afraid. I know that Leon has had some very poor results in Pachuca over the years, but I'm never afraid when they go in there to play for some reason. So, also, I will be at that game. I will not be at the one in Torreon. So I'd love to see a good result in Pachuca.
Yeah.
Because either way, I'm going to have to come back in the middle of the night on the bus.
How far is it? Like 4-5 hours?
It's a ways. Yeah, like by bus a little bit longer, but yeah.
Yeah. If we were a good team right now, if we were doing better than we were, and this doble jornada, I would still expect some changes in the lineup, like some rotations, right? Because you don't want to. Yeah. So maybe that's something that Paiva is thinking of doing. Maybe having these rotations, because Louis said Santos is the easier of the two. So maybe he's thinking, okay, I'll make it seem like I'm going to bench some of these guys, but really I'm just rotating so that we play our good players against Pachuca.
I mean, defensively, Santos is not the best. Obviously, Doria has been sitting out, and that team has looked better without Doria. Felix, I think, is the weakest link. But again, it's just connecting. We need that connection between everybody offensively, and I think that's what we've been lacking. Honestly, like I had mentioned on the chat. Gone.
If they don't want Doria anymore, we'll gladly take him.
No, I will protest. I will riot. We could do better.
Wait.
No.
What? Wait, what do you mean we could do better? Doria's a
I don't
hell of a
want Doria.
defender.
No, no, no,
Louis,
no, no,
Louis,
no, no,
help me out here.
I just
no,
said if they don't want him, we'll gladly take him. I stand by
no,
that.
no. I will riot this decision.
What's
No.
wrong? Wait, what's wrong with Doria?
Have you not watched Santos with Doria?
I mean, yeah. I mean, last season he was pretty good. I haven't really got to see him this season. Is he really that bad? He can't be worse than Barreiro.
Watch this season. Don't be too harsh on Barreiro, because obviously he's given us good games. It's just this season he's been a bit declining. But no, I'd rather keep Barreiro over Doria. Period.
So you take Ramiro Gonzalez back before.
Oh yes. I was so mad when we let him go to begin with. I was the one like, why are we letting go of Ramiro? Why?
Yeah,
why?
I take him back too.
I'll tell you why.
Carlos?
Something that went under the radar. Something that went under the radar. That was only reported by Cheque. Cheque, shout out to him once again. He reported that cuando se fue Ramiro a Chile a jugar for I think it was Católica, they denied him getting into the team because he failed his physical. He had there was something with his heart. He that wasn't right, so he failed his physical, and he's basically out of a job. So maybe we saw that first. Maybe we saw that he wasn't good in Leon, and that's why we didn't want to keep him. So physically, he wasn't. No, yeah, he's a great, but his body isn't.
I take him. I'd easily throw him in with Belon. I mean, Barreiro. Why did we let go of Ramiro? I mean, I know you just excited, but
yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense to me at this point. Ramiro, come back if you're listening. Come back. Honestly, after like I had mentioned in the chat, I'm not feeling positive. If I don't see any type of change, then maybe I'll be going downhill with the team. If we get a draw tomorrow and I see change, I'm content. I'm expecting a loss. If things continue to be how they have been the past two games, if things have changed, se ve el esfuerzo, change of idea, más garra, but we still lose, or at least, I'd be fine. If we draw, I'm okay. And then, like Louis said, expect to win at Pachuca. That's a coin flip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, at this point, it's not enough. It's not enough to just see them play well. They need points out of these. I feel like these two matches are crucial.
Yeah.
They need to find a way to get some points out of them. Find a way.
I think I'm just being realistic with what I've seen with Santos being strong at home. Like, they're strong at home. And I think that's where, from the past two games, how we played and Santos being strong at home. I know they lost against Tigres, but they're strong at home. We really need to change something. We need to change something. Bench players, have a new mentality, and going forward. That's what I think.
Yeah,
I would love nothing more if we bounce back and win tomorrow. I'm gonna be hella happy. But I need to see it. You know what I mean? I need to see changes.
Didn't you after the Mazatlan game say that you were gonna predict a loss in these next two matches? So which one?
Yes.
So which one is it?
Versus Pachuca.
Oh, dang it!
If we draw tomorrow and lose versus Pachuca, I mean, if things don't change, I feel like obviously, like, with time, with a couple of days, you kind of be a little bit more optimistic after you were very pessimistic. But I think we need to see changes, like we've mentioned. Mena has no business starting. Montes has no business starting. At the CEO, I need to be given a date and a time when this man needs to return, because he needs to glue back together what we've been missing defensively. Ambriz needs to get back to where he was at one point. Like Jefecito, he's not all there, but I would gladly take Jefecito over Ambriz or over Montes, whichever. I don't know.
Any hot takes? We had plenty of hot takes in the chat, guys.
You guys had hot takes. You guys want to share any hot takes?
Yeah, go for it, Carlos.
Let's do it. I'll do a hot take.
Let's do it.
Hot take for everybody out there listening. My hot take was that Montes needs to go. Either he accepts a role off the bench or he just leaves the team because the midfield is dead. Like there's no recovery man. Fidel is by himself. Luis Montes doesn't run back on defense. He's often dragging his legs. It's bad to see. It's sad to see him like this, really.
Yeah.
And like Louis mentioned earlier, he'd be much better as a super sub at this point in his career. But man, there's so many. There's a lot of space in that midfield that the opposition uses to their advantage, and it's all because Luis Montes can't. He doesn't know how to run anymore or something. I don't know. He's just tactically he's not there. Physically he's not there. And there's some people out there who say, he's the reason some coaches have left. He's the reason we're playing this bad. But I don't know. My position is that he either needs to be benched or just leave the team. And there's word que es muy buen compadre with our owner, Jesus Martinez. So
I think he needs to be benched. Obviously, we had the discussion about when Christian took over as interim and, kind of conspiracies like, now Montes is playing after not playing under Olan. Obviously, we're not discrediting what Montes has given to this team over the years. It's just he has been on a decline and there's no creativity. There is nothing going on at this point. You can't compare him with a player like Sambuesa who is, around that age, but we don't need to worry about some aspects on the field because they're covered. It's like at this point, we don't have a media. We don't have any creativity going on. So I don't know if he's thinking of, retiring anytime soon, which I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it. But he either needs to turn it back on, like we have definitely credited him to the past couple of seasons of him doing fantastic at this age. But right now, it seems he is going in a decline. And it's like you said, it's sad to see, but you can't really do much if the body is the body and the player is,
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any hot takes. You guys got a hot take?
My hot take was that Holland's first season, the Leagues Cup and the making it to the final. I had more fun watching the team that season than at any point in the Ambris era, honestly.
That was a fun season.
And I don't count the COVID title season because I didn't see any of it live.
Oh, no.
Really, no cuenta.
I watched all of it on TV. I mean, I know you guys watch most games on TV. There's nothing wrong with watching games on TV, but for me, there was just something missing in my soul that whole season.
That's true.
It's so deep. It is true.
Would have been much better with people there.
Yeah.
But at least, and I'm proud to say this as a Leon fan, there was no controversy throughout the season, no VAR. Oh, Leon was benefited by VAR. None of this stuff that happened with Atlas, that's currently happening with Toluca. None of these VAR interventions where we were the beneficiaries. No, it was a clean. We won it through our good football, and we won a clean title, and nobody said anything controversial about us. We won it fair and square.
That's true.
Yeah. And that was the best thing.
But I mean, my hot take also, when I think people, they continue to idolize Nacho Ambriz, and I'm like, dude, remember how that era ended, how checked out both he and all of his players were that last season, and aside from that one COVID title, I
feel like they reminisce on the good parts of the coach, I mean, that we forget the endings of it, right?
I mostly remember the heartbreak, honestly. There was a lot of heartbreak.
What's the heartbreak?
And especially, well, the first and foremost, the two inexcusable first-round exits in CCL when we were undeniably the best team in CONCACAF, not just in Mexico, but in CONCACAF. We were for a period of time, we were undeniably the best team in CONCACAF. And in that window, we had two inexcusable exits to MLS opposition in the first round. Not even MLS teams, well, especially in the case of Toronto, not MLS teams that were even playing well. Yeah, that was inexcusable. And then, of course, we're not supposed to even talk about these things on this podcast anymore. But the inexcusable Liguilla exits to Morelia and to Toluca, those were, I'm sorry.
They were fun.
It just couldn't happen.
They were fun to watch. I mean, looking back at it, obviously it was a heartbreak, but I mean, that Morelia one was so frustrating.
Yeah. I mean,
that was far more inexcusable than the Toluca one. But they both were.
But as a whole, those 2 years, weren't they the most fun years ever? Those 12 victorias consecutivas, getting to the finals multiple times, getting to play in CCL after a 20-year drought. I mean, just overall, cumulatively, that was a fun 2 years.
The Matosas era, I loved it. Ambriz era, I loved it. There's eras that you love. I definitely get what you're saying, Louis. I mean, I feel like us being the better team, being so cohesive with the team was so cohesive. They were so in touch with each other, and for things to happen the way they did. But it is a good time to remember. I mean, do we want to remember the Chava Diaz era? Do we want to remember the
It's just the way that la gente sigue enalteciendo Ambriz and just throwing endless shade at Holland. I just think that's not an accurate representation of the way things went down. We did not win with Holland the way we did in his first season because of inertia that Nacho Ambriz left behind. There was no inertia when Nacho Ambriz left this team. The team was in not great straits when Nacho Ambriz left the team, and people just seem to not want to remember that. No les conviene recordar eso.
Because I think about it, obviously after the Matosas era, we had BC, then we had Tena, then we had Torrente, then we had Gustavo Diaz, then we had Ambriz, then Olan, then Paiva. I mean, I take Matosas era and Nacho Ambriz era any day.
Well, you can't really. The Holland era wasn't even really an era. He only had one. It was only allowed to have one good season, and then.
But he quit. He's a quitter.
No, he didn't quit. He didn't quit because he resigned and they denied it.
Sorry, yes, he resigned and they denied it.
No, actually, Grupo Pachuca did not want to let him leave. Basically, is what
no. Yeah, they did not want to let him leave.
But Grupo Pachuca was okay with letting Ambriz walk.
Yeah, I just think people choose to remember the parts of history that are convenient for them, and that not necessarily the way things really played out. The Ambriz era did not end. People want to think that he went out on top when he really didn't. He really did not. That last season was extremely disappointing.
Wait, so you're saying you take Olan one season or Ambriz's era?
2 years?
I'm not necessarily saying that because we did win a title. We did win a league title with Ambriz. I'm saying I enjoyed the one Holland season, following that one Holland season, more than at any point following the Ambriz era. That includes the 12 victorias, because those 12 victorias no sirvieron para nada.
No, but I mean, it's something, it was fun to watch. It was exciting. We were, in the moment of feeling things. So if Olan didn't win Leagues Cup, would you still say the same thing? Would you still say?
Hard to say, maybe not. But man, that final in Las Vegas was so epic.
Epic. Never going to forget that.
Yeah, like that was just amazing. And the fact that it was against Seattle Sounders, I know they got their vengeance later in CCL, but that Leagues Cup final was amazing.
I mean, all I need is Leon to bounce back and to get into the Liguilla, so I can actually.
That final in El Jalisco also, even though we lost, like I will never ever see the Estadio Jalisco like that ever again.
Don't remind
Because
me.
now even though they're reigning bicampeones, they get like 5,000 fans in their 60,000 seat stadium.
I haven't been doing that well anyways lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came down to penalties in that final, and the two who missed were our two veterans, the guys who were supposed to make them.
Yeah.
But
Chapito
before
and
that, there
Navarro.
was very iffy calls. I mean, we
Oh
don't,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
all playoffs for Atlas, they were iffy calls. But the fact that we were 2 penalty shots away from actually winning and talking about a completely different conversation right now is like, wow, we came that close.
We came that close. I cried after the game. I really did.
Yeah. Tough memories, but I mean, at least we were there. Got to be in it to win it.
Okay, guys, go ahead and do predictions so we can take off and watch the Pachuca Medica game.
Okay.
Prediction time!
Louis, I'm sad that you can't make the game, but
Yeah,
go ahead and give me
too.
your prediction.
Whew. This is a tough one. I know I didn't necessarily say before I was predicting a win against Santos. I did say it was theoretically the easier of the two of the doble jornada.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just can't. I'm not in the mood to predict a draw or a loss right now. I'm not in the mood for predicting drop points. And theoretically, they are the easier of the two. I mean, Santos is, they had a great result against Cruz Azul, but they're still a team that has things to figure out. So I don't know. If they can go and play like they did against America or Toluca, they got a good chance to beat Santos. The pieces are there. I don't know. I gotta believe in them to bounce back. So I'll go with 2-1. I'll go with 2-1 Leon.
2-1. Carlos, your prediction.
Tough to say. I'm never gonna say we're gonna lose.
You gotta be realistic sometimes.
I know you gotta be realistic, but I don't wanna throw that salt on my team, I wanna always have positive thoughts. Always think that you're gonna win, Always go in there with the right mind state. So I'm gonna agree 2-1. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I'm gonna go 2-1. Di Jorio and Platano score.
Interesting.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw. I think I'm gonna start coming back to my reality senses because I've always been super optimistic. I've always, I'm saying, oh, we're gonna score 3 goals, we're gonna score 2 goals, we're gonna leave them scoreless, and that doesn't happen. So I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. If they win tomorrow, awesome. Like I'm
No, you just don't. You don't want to upset Coach Tom.
No, he knows how I feel. He knows that. I think it's just hard to say we're gonna win after Monterrey and Mazatlan. I mean, two totally contradicting teams, and we lose. I mean, we have there 8 goals. Pumas has 9 goals against them, which one's Barcelona, but we have 8 goals, and 3 of them came from Mazatlan. Like it's just I think I'm coming back to reality, and like I said, coming back, I'm saying we draw tomorrow. I'm saying we lose against Pachuca. I really hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, and I feel like maybe the universe tells me this is what you're thinking, Karina. But hey, Leon's gonna surprise you, and I'm gonna be happy if that happens.
Liga MX is crazy and unpredictable, though. Like, yeah, we had 2 bad losses in a row, but they could easily go out tomorrow and look like the dominating team they're capable of being.
That's the thing. They have to be capable of. They have to, I want to have that energy come off of them and say, okay, they're going, like with that game versus America. I need that same energy. I didn't get it these past 2 games.
Well, you got to believe that there's a bounce back game in our guys. We can't just lose the rest of the season. There's got to be a bounce back somewhere.
No, I'm not saying the rest of the season, but I'm just being critical right now and saying if Paiva says he's going to change things, he needs to change things. If he comes out with the same stuff tomorrow, I'm gonna be really pissed because I'm like, have you not learned anything from the past 2 games? That
He's
you need to
not.
make changes and stop wasting time and just do them when you need to do them, you know? Bench players, bench Mena, bench Montes, just do it. He has a hierarchy. That's what he came here for. If Olan, didn't have enough of whatever, I can't say it, but Paiva does, like he benched, Fede for talking back to him, bench Mena, bench Montes. Just do it. They're not helping the team. They're putting the team into situations where they're not even being supportive when we're being, counterattacked. Then what are they doing? Just to show their faces? No. At this point, like we said, if all the changes go through like we want them and responden, I'm 100% happy.
So I have to say, Ariel Holland did have the, to bench some players. He benched everyone and said, you know what, me la voy a jugar con la sub-20.
You're right. Yeah, you're
Me la voy a
right.
jugar con la sub-20, and Paiva isn't man enough to do that yet.
Yes. You're right.
Yeah. And we saw what happened to Ariel Holland, so let's hope it doesn't happen to Paiva.
I'm just hoping after these 2 games, we come back next week and we're on better terms with what happened in this next 2 games. So I really hope I'm wrong. I need them to prove me wrong right now. So anything else, guys, before we leave?
No, I think that's it.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you, everybody that joined us. If you're listening, don't forget to listen. If you guys are just barely joining us, don't forget to listen on the podcast from beginning to end on Spotify. Don't forget to follow us on all social medias. If you guys are not able to watch the game for any reason, tomorrow night's game or Sunday's game, go ahead and follow DOBLE on EN to keep you updated with the live updates of the game. Show some love, follow, comment. DOBLE on EN is very interactive during the game. So Louis will be gone.
I was gonna say, follow Kari because she's gonna be at the game tomorrow.
Yes, I just don't know if I'll tweet, but I don't know if I'll be able to do a video before. But I will be there and I will be tweeting. Sometimes Twitter, where the palco is, it's not cooperative with the Wi-Fi or anything like that. So I will be there. It's just like sometimes when I'm tweeting during the game,
Do it outside the stadium.
Well, I don't. I'll tell you after.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, don't forget to follow DOBLE on EN and keep you updated. And don't forget to follow Louis. We'll be in attendance Sunday at Pachuca. Hopefully, Louis gets to see a win after a terrible sight that he saw versus Mazatlán at home. Which the stadium wasn't even that full, and I mean, if it was the tickets were really cheap, like you guys said.
It was pretty full. It didn't start out full. A lot of people showed up at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is an early start for Mexico on a weekend. But by the end, it was pretty full.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I want to see you next week on another episode of the Lions Den Podcast.